With the national presidential race in full swing all around us, I'm pleased to have as my guest for tonight the newest presidential candidate to enter the race as an independent, Mr. Fred Cunningham. Also joining me is his campaign manager, Mr. Burt Rosenberg. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
He's delighted to be here tonight.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to have you too. It's entirely my privilege. Well, Fred, what motivated you to run for president of the United States?
The world is in such a state that they're looking for new leadership. They're looking for people to bring somebody into the future with change, but without stepping on the status quo. It's a balance, and Fred is the man to do that.
Well, that's excellent. What are some of your positions, Fred, as far as achieving those goals?
Fred believes the future is behind us. And I know that might sound paradoxical, but we need to put the future behind us, because the problem with the future is it's always ahead and we never get there. It's kind of like a carrot in front of a horse. The horse is always trying to get to the future and never gets there. We need to put the future behind us, and we need to come into the present, because the present is where action takes place, and Fred is a man of action.
I see. Well, Fred, I want to get some of your thoughts on this. What are some of your goals?
Those are his thoughts.
Oh, well, I see. Well, why don't you answer this one about what are some of your education goals?
Education goals. I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nations don't have maps. And
That's right. They don't have maps.
I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and in the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and help the Iraq and Asian countries, so that we can be able to build up our future for us.
Well said.
That sounds really... that's that Miss South Carolina quote. That is plagiarism. You stole that speech straight from the beauty pageant.
No, it's great minds think alike.
All right, Bert, let me ask you a question. Why is Fred so late in entering the presidential race? It seems like we're kind of past the point where a candidate is feasible.
Well, the later you enter the race, the closer you are to the future. And once we can get to the future, we can put it behind us.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
You didn't have sex with her?
Miss Lewinsky.
Miss Lewinsky?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Well, Bert, what do you see?
He didn't.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Bert, well, what do you see?
And when he says he didn't, you can believe him. Unlike some other people, maybe not as believable as Fred.
Oh, definitely. I agree. But Bert, let me just ask you on behalf of Fred, what are some of the greatest challenges?
Well, I'd rather he speak for himself.
Well, yeah. Fred, why don't you answer? What are some of the greatest challenges you see this nation facing? Well,
the people are confused. The people don't know what's going on around them. They don't know what's going on with the economy. They don't know what's going on with the Islamic Jihad. They don't know whether to fight it or to withdraw. They don't know what to do. There's a certain sort of a perplexed attitude, and we need a man that is as perplexed as the American people and reflects the helplessness of the people themselves. And Fred is that man.
I see. Well, why don't we let Fred answer some of these questions for himself?
Well, this is what he thinks, what I'm telling you.
Oh, well, I see. So you do realize you're running for president of the United States. I mean, don't you think the American people expect more from a president of the United States?
I know what is.
He knows what is.
I believe nothing stands between us and success except failure.
Well, you know, politicians, one of the biggest problems, Americans have with politicians is these canned phrases that you just hear repeated all...
Canned phrases, exactly.
Can do. I've got a can-do attitude.
We need to eliminate canned phrases. We need somebody that can be spontaneous and say things, shoot from the hip, and just go over to foreign countries, deal with leaders, and just say whatever comes out of his mouth.
Shoot from the hip. You can get more with a kind word and a gun than you can with just a kind word alone.
Well, I don't know if the American people will agree with that, but, well, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate your candor and your thoughts, Fred.
I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know Mike Mayer?
Yeah.
I like his show a lot. He has a lot of good stuff on it. Do you think you can get me on his show, Bunny?
Oh, all right. When I come back, I sit down with author of the new best-selling book, Doing It. Stay tuned.